Now, if ever there's a long-standing tradition here on the second channel, aside from being mean to Lauren Chen, it's laughing about Carl, Soigon of Akkad, or Carne of Asada, or failed UKIP MP, fish enthusiast, attractor of kippers, Mr. Carl Benjamin. And over here on his podcast of the Ass Eaters, he is talking about what being a man actually means. Let's see if his suit fits in this one.
The very essence of masculinity revolves around the relationship with women.
Yes.
Like, that's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
That's what.
That's a little quiet. Here, hang on. Let me turn this up. It's very soft spoken, don't you know?
The very essence of masculinity revolves around the relationship with women.
Yes.
Like, that's the purpose of it.
Yeah.
That's what. It's a series of characteristics that have evolved that women are attracted to.
So okay, there's some problems with this because this is an example of like an argument from etymological roots. You can say this is the same thing with somebody being like, you know, like trying to redefine anti-Semitism as being specifically against like Semitic people and not what it actually means. Because while yes, there is etymological roots and historical roots of words, that does not necessarily mean that's how the word is used now. Language changes over time. It gains or loses utility. It's one of those fucking things, you know? And I'm also, like, I'm looking it up myself anyway. There is not necessarily an inherent historical component of masculinity being defined by women insofar further than masculinity was a detailing out of males, and that the only real attribution of that to females is that it doesn't apply to them. Okay? And it has nothing to do with attraction either. I would even say contemporarily, masculinity these days has nothing in specific to do with attraction at all. I really don't believe so.
That will provide her with safety, security, resources, comfort, love, all of these things.
This is trad bullshit. You know, improve your life kind of garbage. No, it's ridiculous. And what is this shirt? Weird.
But also, I've been thinking about this a lot. I'm not even sure you can really properly call yourself a man if you don't have children.
I agree.
Because it's become apparent to me as a father that the rule and boundary setting requirements of a man are difficult, something you can't plan for.
Hang on. Okay, you can't really call yourself a man unless you have children. Okay, well, first of all, there's a couple of things that we have to detail out here. Carl's definition of masculinity, insofar that it's contemporary, it's referenced against women, is also very commonly used as a tactic to basically be against things like, say, being trans. Masculinity as a philosophical concept, as a sociological construct, is one of a set of traits, behaviors, value systems that are not inherently gendered. There is a genderized component because of what is most commonly attributed to those types of behaviors and skills and values and whatever. Sure, but you can be a masculine woman. And even in antiquity, there are many, many classical examples in literature of references to masculine women. You know? I mean, fuck. They killed Joan of Arc for it, for fuck's sake. But like then this whole thing of, well, you have to be a parent. Do you have to have biological children or can you adopt? That's a question I also would have before you can call yourself a man. But on top of that, too, he's talking about fatherhood, but when he talks about fatherhood, it's boundary making and rules, which is really weird.
the rule and boundary setting requirements of a man are difficult, something you can't plan for a priori. You have to have gone
He
through
has to say a priori. He can't say planned beforehand. Fucking nerd.
the process of having set boundaries and having established justice as well. One of the most difficult.
What a weird role play kind of way to look at fatherhood. Fatherhood is maintaining the rules of the house and justice and what? What? Like the first things I think about when being a father, because I am a father, is love, fun, ambition, like positive things. I don't think about restrictions and boundaries. That's weird.
Difficult things for me was a few years ago when both of my kids came up to me, the two oldest, and said, he did this, she did this, and now you have to be judge, jury, and executioner. And you love both of the people that you're presiding over, and so you don't want either of them to be dealt with unjustly, but also
It's not like other people don't have to deal with that in their like personal relationships with friends, or does he? When his kids have an argument, does he put on a fucking robe? Does he put on like a hat and hold a scepter or some shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Fatherhood is about being an executioner. Like, my main criticism right now, aside from the fact that Carl is just wrong and is blowing smoke up his own ass about what being masculine or a man or a father even is how much of a fucking weirdo nerd he is and how much I would never want to be his kid. Holy shit.
also you don't want one of them to get away with something and the other be punished for something they didn't do. And it's a very, very difficult situation to be in because you want to be fair to both.
Yeah.
And this gives you a kind of authority that you just simply didn't have before. And whenever you're imbued with any kind of authority, you have to treat it with remarkable amounts of forbearance.
Okay, I think I figured it out. No, I was just thinking about this for a little bit. He lost his election to be an MP, and he's taking it out on his fucking kids. And that's why he's pretending to be like a fucking judge. He puts on one of those white barrister wigs. I wouldn't doubt it, dude. I wouldn't doubt it.
And if you make a mistake, the mistake is permanent, and the person doesn't really have a court of appeal against you. And so this
because you can't change your mind. Of course, you could never change your mind because then they win.
Actually imbues what you do with a kind of importance that you just don't understand when talking to other adults. And it's not only that you have to deal with this. Your wife is watching. She's judging you. She's on the quality of you as a man. And so
what the fuck? What the fuck? You better do good at dadding, or woman judge you bad, judgy, bad. I can't imagine living my life this way. Holy shit, what a miserable fucking existence that would be. Like, oh no, I better watch out, or the wife might judge me.
So, and this is just one layer of being a man. The next one is people depending on you. Because that's really what the justice is about.
Nobody should depend on you, buddy. Nobody.
Your children is coming to you saying, Father, I need you to resolve a wrong, and they don't have anyone else to go to. So the idea that I've really boiled it down to, you aren't really a man unless there are people who absolutely depend on you. And if you have obligations to fulfill, which is why you do the things that you do.
So far, the two criteria that he's made for being a man can be filled by women, like or people who transition. Either any of them. Like literally anybody could do these things, these weirdo, like LARPy things that if you distill them down are just kind of okay criteria. Sort of, they're fine, I guess. Whatever, anybody could do it.
And so,
and I would say it's the same for women.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's just different things
for
women, but it's the same principle.
That was a shock. I did not know who he was talking to, and that's not what I pictured. It was, yeah, that's not what I pictured. Kind of cool tattoos, though. All right, yeah, well, this is kind of cool. I don't know who the fuck it is.
I would say it's the same for women.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's just different things
Yeah,
for women, but it's the same principle.
Now
Absolutely.
you said you are not a man until you're a father, and I would mostly agree with that. But just like with womanhood, I would say there are stages.
Sure.
In Germany, we say to be a man, you have to have planted a tree, built a house, and have produced a son.
Yeah.
And
That's weird. It's pretty weird. Yeah, that's pretty dumb, actually. I mean, you know what? If you're making like a tradition of like some sort of rites of passage into adulthood, like you have to go out and accomplish these like tasks and shit. Like that's cool if they're reasonable tasks, but having to like produce offspring in order to have the validation of full adulthood is very bizarre and kind of tokenizes children. Like, I think you should have a kid if you want to have a kid, not so people will consider you a man. Isn't that kind of fucked up? Isn't that kind of like reducing the value of children to like an arbitrary token? It's weird, right? It's weird.
And these are stages. You have to, like the tree, you could say, is a symbol of planting something for the future.
Okay, sure.
So you have to have an outlook onto the future. Obviously, the symbol of, planting a tree so you can sit under its shadow later on. Building a house, you are already starting with taking responsibility for your life and actually settling and stopping doing nonsense.
It would be very fascinating if it was possible for people, at least here in the United States, to build a house or even buy a house. That would be good. That'd be really good. So I guess you're just not going to have a whole generation, probably many generations, that just aren't men because they don't have their own house. They have to rent.
So to speak, and then you really step into the third level, the highest level of responsibility, and that's having children for yourself. Completely agree.
To watch the full video.
That was trash. Who the fuck is he even talking to? Difficult conversation about sexuality and gender interview with Philip Tanzer. Men's rights activist Philip Tanzer. See, I should have called that one. Because the thing is, this type of content, men's rights content, and don't get me wrong, before I say this, there are plenty of rights plenty of issues that do specifically harm men more than others, and they have there's every reason to have advocacy for that and fight for those things. However, I have noticed a trend that there is quite a few MRA content that is in the same vein as like self-help content that is largely targeted at trying to show men how to improve their lives. But the thing is, what they actually advocate for ends up being things that are very difficult to achieve, if not sometimes impossible to achieve. So rather than instill young men with confidence and skills to try and attain good things in life, they end up just making them more depressed and more upset. And like very commonly, it ends up being a parasitical relationship where these people who are trying to sell you self-help, well, they just need a little bit more money, and you'll more lessons, and you'll really get that good teaching to eventually really help you get that successful career, that hot girlfriend who will become your hot wife, who will make you lots of kids. Like, it's all a pipe dream. And if anything proves it and is very evident, is Carl trying to assume that his absolutely psychopathic beliefs about his own family and his position as a patriarch of that family are sane and healthy, which they are obviously not. So, yeah. Pretty much telling on yourself there with that one, Carl. Pretty weird.